And in this game, there really is there's no good side. There's the bad side, and then there's the evil side. So, she heads the bad side. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to destroy the world like the evil ones. She just wants to own it, and she wants it all to herself. So she's an accumulator and a control. She wants to control. So again, it was really fun to be a bit of a villainess who isn't the worst person in the room, right? So I'm beginning to see a theme. Perhaps I'm good at those roles.
My intention was not to run from Legion, but to fight. I had the expertise. I had my wealthy patrons. I had a mobile fortress. All I needed was an army to wipe Legion off the face of this earth. And this is how mayhem was born.
This audition was a short paragraph. And as I recall, they wanted a sort of European... They may have specifically asked for French. I think that is the case. And I thought, well, I can fake a French accent for a paragraph. So I did. And maybe a couple of months later, I got a call back for it. And I thought, oh no, I'm in trouble. Because I didn't have a really well-cultivated French accent. I could sort of, fake it for, nobody would catch on, So I was a little anxious because it was an in-person callback. And actually, I should say it was a callback where the developers of the game, the writers, were away. I don't know if they were in New York or where. They were mysteriously somewhere else, since I just got to see them on Skype at a studio in Santa Monica. And anyway, before I went, I had a good 10 days before, so I could try to figure out how to better my French accent. So I happened to be in a class in the middle of a 2-year program in Meisner technique out at the Ruskin Theater in Santa Monica, and there was a girl in my class who was French. She's actually Iranian, but grew up in Paris. And so she had just a wonderful accent that was clearly rooted in a French accent, but it was more European. It had a kind of a different flavor to it. And so I just watched her and listened to her in the, I want to say, 2 to 3 classes that I had in the interim before the audition. And I watched the placement of her, of her mouth, like where does that sit in her mouth? And I noticed that she spoke sort of with her mouth pursed up in the front. And so that's what I did. I took on this position of my mouth, and there it was born. And I think that's a big piece of how you make accents work. It's like, where does it sit in your mouth? Like, where's your tongue? Where are your lips? Are they pulled back, sort of like the German? That however you find it. And with Indian, it's sort of like British, but your tongue is a little bit different at the top of your mouth, So I love finding those things, but French is a difficult one because ours tend to be in the back of the throat, but hers were not. And I think that's what saved me. The way that she put her mouth up forward like this made it so that the back of my tongue was in a position where it did not sound like I was trying to, I don't know, it just worked. So when I went to the audition, it was a couple of paragraphs, and again, really green with games and auditions, and this was a piece of my trying to understand how to audition for games, because it's just a different animal. And once you know the rules, it's fine. Once you know what you're dealing with, it's good. So I did this, I read this piece as if it was in a cutscene, and I was speaking to another character, you know, and sort of after my first take, you know, they brought to my attention that in this I was speaking to the player. You know, it was like, oh right, the player. You know, it's a different world, right? It's not like doing a play, and it's not like doing a movie, but it is. You know, so I did another couple of takes, and you know, there were other people that they were, you know, calling back and auditioning, and I felt a little goofy, like it was clear that I didn't understand games very well. You know, that was the thing. Like, maybe my accent was all right, but I didn't understand the genre. You know what I mean? And I booked it. I mean,
We joined the others to rejoice in our victory, but I alone knew the madness of the Morning Star's ambition. And now it was time to play my hand.
and she's just a wonderful character. You know, the tall, dark hair, smokes a cigarette on a you know, a cigarette holder, wears a black gown with, you know, V-neck and cleavage, and like, she's a femme fatale. She's a sort of a classic 1940s femme fatale, like a Jessica Rabbit, you know, but not a rabbit. And she's the smartest person in the room, and she suffers no fools, and she is quick-witted and cutting, and I just love her.
How I uncovered their secrets, I will not say. But I made my own arrangements. And my command of the Ark gave me the perfect escape. Put an end to Dr. Babylon's little science project and started a war to take back this world from Legion.
I don't know. She's just a classic broad, you know, who gets to tell people what to do because she is in fact the smartest person in the room, you know. So. And over the course of over 2 years, it's taken, you know, it took to record the character. There's so much I don't even remember, you know, because games, you know, you get little chunks of dialogue. It's never really a through line. So over the course of time, you sort of piece it together yourself, you know, to figure out, oh, this is what's happening. Okay, I get it now. You know, everything you record is basically out of context, and you never read with other people. So it's hard to say, oh, what scene, because I didn't record a scene. You know, I recorded lines, imagining a scene in my head. And oftentimes I don't even know who it was I was speaking with, you know. And it goes by so quickly that you kind of look back and go, yeah, what? Who was I talking to? What? What's going on? How does that scene play out? But that's, you know, that's where the brilliance of the game developers, you know, comes in, because they're the ones who put it all together and make it the thing that it is, you know, and have the foresight. Same with the voice direction. You know, they have so much knowledge of the game and how the game is played and how the characters interact, that they know the kinds of takes that they want to get from you, you know, in order to properly move the story along and to properly imbue the characters, right? I don't know, they know. So it's totally a symbiotic relationship. You know, actors couldn't do it without trusting the people on the other side of the glass who really put the thing together. So I just love her. I don't know how else to say it.